Jason, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. This is actually the inaugural interview for infoChachkie that's on video. So I've been doing a number of them text-wise, but I'm sort of joining the internet revolution here 10 years late by doing this on video. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do it. I know you're super busy with Docstoc, and so hopefully we'll be able to get through some questions, and you'll be able to share some of your entrepreneurial insights with the folks that come to the infoChachkie blog. So thank you.
My pleasure, and thanks for having me today, John.
Sure. So I just want to start out with, if you could tell us, why does the world need Docstoc? Like, just in very simple terms, what are you guys doing and why is it important?
Sure. So our mission is that we make every small business better, and the world needs Docstoc because we help provide the best quality and widest selection of documents to help you start, grow, and manage your small business and professional life. So if you're starting a company, if you're running a small business, if you're an independent professional, basically we help make that process easier by giving you the knowledge and resources that a lot of people that have been really successful for you have had at their disposal.
Right, right. Yeah, helping people walk down a path that's well-trod. I've used your service indirectly a number of times when people come to me and ask me for certain agreements, or do I have suggestions on certain documents. Docstoc, it makes it easy for me. I say, here's the URL. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for, and they come back happy. So it works for both of us. Yeah, I think you're the only person I've ever met that was class president at both their undergraduate at UC Santa Barbara, as well as their graduate school, which for you was Pepperdine. Was that just a way to meet girls, or was that really a good precursor to being an entrepreneur?
Yes.
That's exactly. Okay, next question.
Was it a good way to meet girls? I think I had a girlfriend both times, so but maybe it helped in the first case. It was a great precursor to being an entrepreneur. I mean, first off, especially at UCSB, it was a school of 20,000 people,
Right.
and you have to run a campaign. And that's a lot. It's a lot of the same skills as starting a company. You have to mobilize people. You have to delegate tasks. You have to raise money. I didn't raise a couple $1 million, but I had to raise money to put together banners and signs and everything like that. And then once you win, you're actually running an organization, and it was an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm.
At business school, it was a little different. It's on a little bit smaller scale.
Right.
But I can say that going back to when I was 20 years old and I ran that campaign, I think that was the first time that I really got a taste for doing something entrepreneurial, and I think I was just hooked ever since then.
Yeah. Once you get that taste, it's hard to go back.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. When you went to Pepperdine, you got your joint MBA in JD, and I remember I went to Wharton, and I actually thought about that for about 5 seconds, and then realized it was way too much work and I'm too lazy. I'm not a huge fan of MBAs in general, MBAs that want to become entrepreneurs, but I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. So let me phrase the question this way. Would you get your JD MBA again? Would you just get an MBA, or would you take that time and jump right into a venture if you could do it all over?
That's a great question. I can honestly say if I had to do it all over again, I would have just started a company right away. And I think in life, whatever experiences you have, you want to make the most of them. So the business school and law school experience was fantastic, and it's something I'll have for the rest of my life. And
Right.
honestly, it's something that's not just valuable because you can do something within the future, but those were 4 years that I really savored and appreciated, and I met great people. And look, I started 2 businesses when I was in grad school, and the second one of them was Docstoc. And honestly, I don't know that I would have done it if I wasn't in that experience.
Right.
But I do find a lot of folks that have this preconceived notion that before they can start a business, they have to go to business school. And honestly, I think if that's your plan, that's most likely just kind of a diversion. And you don't need to go to business school, and you don't need to have an MBA to be a great entrepreneur. And in some cases, it can dull your entrepreneurial instincts.
Yep.
So no, if somebody was passionate about an idea and wanted to be an entrepreneur, my advice would not be to go to business school. It'd be like, just start, doing what you got to do, and you'll be the person that ends up hiring all those MBAs.
Right. Exactly.
Figure out all those other interesting things you need to do.
Yeah, that's just similar to the advice that I give. In fact, I use similar terminology. I say oftentimes when you go to a school, almost the better the school as far as prestige, the harder it is to then turn your back on those really high-paying jobs that you get as a 25, 26-year-old. And in a way, it sort of beats the entrepreneur out of you. You might go in as thinking you're an entrepreneur, and then you come out thinking, well, maybe I'm an investment banker like the other 98% of my class.
Yeah, and you don't want to be in a position that you're 28 years old and saddled with $100,000 in debt.
Exactly.
It makes it a lot harder to do things and to take risks.
That's right.
So.
I agree, totally. So I'm interested too, because at Expert City, when we were launching, before we launched Go to My PC, we had a product called Buddy Help, which was the bane of my existence because it was a free product and it stood there right next to the product that I was trying to sell, which was a support product at that time. So I'm always interested in the freemium model. I understand its power, but I also understand its pain. You guys have a freemium model as well. A lot of your content is available for free, and I think that's a great service to the entrepreneurial community. But clearly, it's a for-profit business, and you have Docstoc, and you're selling a lot of premium services. I'm interested if you could share with us, sort of behind the scenes, how do you guys manage that tension? Because I imagine there is some natural tension there. And what are just your views in general about deploying a startup that wants to deploy a freemium model?
So obviously, I'm a really big fan of freemium. I think there's two ways that you can think of a freemium model. The first is kind of a more classic model that you've seen in software, which is you build, let's say you build a game or a product, and you give part of it away for free, but then to access the full suite of benefits,
right,
you've got to sign up for the full set. And that's I remember the first DOS games that I downloaded off the internet were like that, off of shareware.
Sure.
And, you got level 1 and 2
Doom.
for free, but you had to pay. Yeah, exactly. You had to pay for the rest of the levels, and it's a great model.
Yep.
There's another freemium model that I think consumer web has really made popular, which is don't charge for anything at the beginning, get to scale, and then once you're at scale and you have critical mass, then you basically turn on a set of paid services, and people are a little bit locked into what you're offering. And we're kind of going down both those routes. So what we did at Docstoc is we spent the first couple of years getting to critical mass. We now have anywhere between 20 to 25 million people a month that use our service. And originally, the vast majority of content was free. And now what we've done is we've taken a portion of that content that was free, and to get the access to download the widest set of documents, you need to be a paying member. Mm-hmm. In addition, what we've done is we've systematically gone out and built what we think are the very best documents for small business owners and operators and professionals. And we give portions of that content away for free, but then to get the full set, you do need to be a subscriber. Right. So ours was a little different in that we got to critical mass of users and then took away what was free in place of paid, but said, hey, we're going to also support this with a lot more premium support, better quality content, and overall, I think the response has been really positive.
Yep. No, I think you guys are doing it right. With Buddy Help, we did pretty much everything wrong. It was in the early days of the internet, and it's a great case study on how to not do a freemium product. So you spoke in my class, my persuasion class, my sales class at UCSB, and I'm not kidding you. People are still talking about it. You pretty much brought down the house. Could you give us a few? I mean, you're a great presenter. Can you give us a few tips, if you can think of maybe 2 or 3 tips that you'd pass along to early stage entrepreneurs with regard to presentation? And could you speak to how your experience as a hypnotist, a professional hypnotist, how that plays into not only presentations, but just startup life in general?
Sure. So first off, saying that somebody's a professional hypnotist is kind of like saying a professional life coach. I don't know who really certifies you as professional.
Hey, if you got paid $1, you're a professional, okay?
Yeah, or a professional mother or whatever.
Right.
So as far as public speaking, a couple quick points. One is from a conceptual standpoint, a philosophical standpoint.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing to think about when you're speaking in public, and it's also, I think, where a lot of our nervousness comes from, is it feels like a lot of people are looking at us and judging us and worrying about what we're doing. And at the end of the day, people don't really care about us. They care about them. And so the biggest lesson that I learned about public speaking that I try to teach everyone else is that talk to people about them. It's not about you. It's not about what you're saying. It's not about how you're coming across. Are you connecting with people about the things that they care about, that they're thinking about? And they're thinking about their situation of money and health and love. And if you talk to people about them, you typically will have an engaged audience. Beyond that, some of the simplest things that I can say is, just try to replicate what you would be like in a normal conversation. And I often find that people will change how they speak when they're in front of a group. But if you were just having a beer with somebody one-on-one, how would you talk to that person? You want to have that same kind of engaging style, which means you don't have to say things perfectly. You can stumble. You can stop and think for a second. You're probably going to get excited at some point, and then a little bit more thoughtful and pensive. And those kinds of conversational styles do really well.
Right.
And then the third thing is just really be prepared and know what you want to say. You know, especially since people aren't used to speaking in public a lot. If you are stumbling over what you say and you're not sure where you want to go, that's where all sorts of, you know, insecurities and bad behaviors are going to come out.
I agree. Yeah, I think presenting is like many things in life. It takes practice, and I think it's somewhat like writing. When you first start writing as a young person, you don't really know what your voice is, so your writing kind of sucks, and you're copying other people in your mind. But if you do it enough and you have enough passion, you find your voice. And I think speaking, for me, is the same way. So I encourage my students, watch a lot of other speakers on video, practice, and really come out with, as you're saying, your authentic personality. Like, let it come out and be comfortable with it coming out. And you lose the nervousness if you're, as you say, very prepared. If you walk in prepared, you're not really going to be nervous. You'll get over it very quickly. So I think those are great points.
Yeah, thanks.
What is Docstoc going to look like in 3 years? I've seen a lot of shift in the last couple of years. I'm sure you've got many, many plans. What can you share for us for the future in Docstoc?
Sure. So, you know, our mission is to make every small business better. And our core value proposition today, which will continue to be our core value proposition, is to help people with the documents they need to start, grow, and manage their small businesses. But we think there are a lot of other resources that basically small business owners and operators need. So starting this year, we're going to be producing original content, so articles and videos, and we're going to be moving into being able to help people with services, so connecting people with other people that can help them with the solutions that they're looking for. And so in 3 years from now, really our goal is to have Docstoc be, you know, the premier destination online where people go to grow their small businesses.
So you've grown in this down economy. You know, it's supposed to be a bad economy. You've really done a great job of growing. What do you attribute that to, and then how will you leverage, you know, trends as the economy returns? Because we all know it inevitably will. How do you plan on leveraging those market trends?
Yeah, so that's one of the interesting things about the internet is that even though the economy can be doing bad, and you know, let's say you're not like a local shop that's affected. Right. You know, you have in essence the entire world as your customer. And you know, I was playing around on Google the other day. I think there's something like almost 500 million unique people across the world that at some point have landed on Docstoc. Wow. Now, I can't say that they have a really strong brand association because they may have just been on the site for, you know, 20 seconds and left.
Yep.
But you know, it's pretty amazing when, you know, I take a step back and think of the scope of the number of people that have at least landed on our doorstep at some point. And I think when you can reach that scope, you're not as affected by the, you know, cyclical trends of the economy. Although from a high level and long standpoint, it makes a difference. And so our goal is really just to produce really good, high quality products that help folks and makes it really easy for them to find and discover content and to use our services. I think if we keep doing that over time, I think, you know, because we can reach so many people that despite what's going on in the market, we could probably do really well.
I think that's an understatement. I think you're being humble. I think you're only going to be impacted, I think, more positively by a return of the economy. As more people, as there's more capital out there, as there's more entrepreneurs that are willing to maybe take the chance. So if you can win in a down economy, as you guys have done, I'm sure that in an up economy, you're really going to kill it.
Thanks. But just also think about the value proposition of Docstoc. I mean, we help small business owners and operators save time and money.
Exactly.
So there's also an inverse correlation that as the economy gets worse and you're looking to potentially do more things yourself, you're going to turn to resources like we provided our company so that you can save time and money.
Yep. Well, Jason, I really appreciate your time today. Speaking of time and money, I know your time is very valuable. So thanks once again for taking the time to speak with me.
And I'm honored to be your first official video blog.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. The honor is all mine.
All right. See you, John.
Take care.